Deadpool is an interesting character. Technically, he can't die. Even with some of these deaths listed down below, he eventually returns in some form or fashion. You see, there's a reason for this. While Deadpool has always had some form of popularity, he was never really on the level that he is now. This has allowed for some weird things to happen as each artist has put their own spin on Deadpool's regeneration abilities and immortality. Sometimes he's strong enough to regrow entire limbs. Sometimes he's technically dead until you reattach his severed head. Sometimes he can fight off a virus. Sometimes he becomes the plague bringer that turns everyone into Deadpool zombies. Sometimes Thanos curses him with immortality. And sometimes it's completely ignored for his Weapon X regeneration. Now, before we get to the list, I do want to clarify that last one. I know it's going to be said in the comments, as it always seems to be whenever I cover a death of Deadpool. Yes, Deadpool was cursed by Thanos with immortality. The link to that video is down below. But no, not every writer has honored this, as most have just ignored this little tidbit of his history. Even if you want to say, oh, well, even if you ignore it, you're still immortal. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, he's not anymore. Yeah, Marvel did a miniseries called Deadpool vs. Thanos, also linked down below. And in that miniseries, they got rid of that whole thing. And Deadpool also doesn't care about Mr.'s death anymore. All right, we clear? Let's get into some of those times that Deadpool died, until he was brought back by the story. Daniel Way's Deadpool run is going to be 1 and 2 on our list. Now, Daniel Way was writing Deadpool from 2008 to 2012, and it was an interesting run in which Deadpool was LOL memes. So this is also the storyline where he had multiple voices in his head. And this storyline crossed over with the Uncanny X-Force at a time, and it is one of the many times that Deadpool decided he wanted to die. Now, in it, there are 2 moments that I consider the true attempts at death for Deadpool. One of which is cool, and one of which is kind of legit Daniel Way's method of murdering our favorite merc with a mouth. First up, Deadpool decided that he finally wanted to die. His reasoning was that immortality is boring. But before coming up with a plan that would actually work, he thought maybe he could be mashed into a fine pulp so that he would never recover. And he tricked the Hulk into, doing Hulk stuff. He angered him and almost got him to kill many civilians in an attempt to get Banner to smash him real good. Once Hulk realized that he had been tricked, it was going the normal route of superheroes with anti-superheroes, where the Hulk was just going to walk away. But Deadpool told him that he was crazy and he would continue to put civilians in a risk unless the Hulk stopped him. There was going to be no stopping him unless the Hulk killed him. And in response to this, the Hulk punched him so hard that he blew him up into like little nanite fibers. He was literally almost nothing left. Now, I consider this a death of Deadpool because the comic even shows Deadpool flatlining, like completely dead. But this was, in fact, one of the turning points where Deadpool ended up realizing how strong his healing factor actually was, and that he could regenerate from even being little microscopic nanite kind of things. Like, apparently, even on a cellular level, he can regrow. And that's when we discovered that when he thought he was going to die. But that led us to the way that Daniel Way actually killed him. Knowing that his regeneration wouldn't allow him to die, he decided to invent a serum that would remove his healing factor so that he could live one life with consequences. It led him down a dark road, and during this journey, he was chopped up into bits, showing that the other half of him will actually grow into another Deadpool, but apparently it automatically becomes evil. I don't know why. Probably plot reasons. Eventually, the people that Deadpool had affected in his life team up against him after he took the serum, and this led to an actual ending for Deadpool. He accepted it, and he felt that he deserved it. Except as the evil Deadpool explained in the ending, the serum failed to work. It only drastically reduced his healing factor and fixed his face, but it's still there. So even though he thought he finally achieved his goal, his cycle of death and sadness would continue on forever. Deadpool then took a bullet to the head, supposedly killing him. Daniel Way signed off on this book with the final words, "Thanks everyone, let the healing begin." And that's when a new writer came in and started up a new Deadpool for Marvel now. Characters like Evil Deadpool and the woman who arranged all of this were just forgotten. This is what I mean by the death of Deadpool. Each run gets a literal end, and its entire supporting cast typically gets kicked to the curb as a new person comes in to write Deadpool. So that leads us to our number 3 on our list, Axis Event issue number 7. And I know, even though I'm counting it as number 3, it might be cheating because technically he was Zenpool at the time of this and he was murdered by Apocalypse, which was an inverted version of Evan, his grandson. So this event had all of our heroes being flipped on their axis. Get it? I used the name of the book. But the basic idea is that due to an ability that the Red Skull had gained by stealing the brain of Professor Xavier, the heroes became bad guys and the bad guys became heroes. Cool idea on paper, but it led to some really weird moments in comics, and the whole event mostly got ignored right afterwards because Marvel was already setting up for the follow-up event, Secret Wars. Well, in this story, Deadpool got turned, well, Weird. Instead of becoming a full good guy or a full bad guy, he became Zenpool, seeking a pacifist life and trying to talk people down without fighting. It led to one of the coolest outfits in my opinion, which is a merge of his X-Force outfit and a monk-style outfit. And he got a hoodie. We all know when you get a hoodie, you just look cooler. And eventually he came face to face with Apocalypse, which is what Evan turned into during the Axis event. But like I said, the Axis event is a whole nother story. He throws a few jokes out trying to talk down Apocalypse, but none of it really works. And he's blasted with these laser eye beams. On the ground, he outright says, "You can kill me, but you'll regret it. One day you'll look back and you'll regret everyone that you killed." It was a speech in which he was attempting to talk Apocalypse down, but Apocalypse had already had enough of Deadpool and he pulverized him until there was nothing left, and then he ripped his head off his body. This is supposedly an epic moment for Zenpool because he's officially dead, like considered dead and killed by his own godson, Evan. Once they reversed the effects of Axis, Wade turned back to normal and he regenerated properly, but it was an actual death to Zenpool and Deadpool per se. Number 4 is going to be The Death of Deadpool. It's an actual book that is very literal in its titling. You see, all of Jerry Dugan's Deadpool run up to this point was showing Deadpool learning how to have a life. At the time of this, he had a wife, friends, and a daughter. And sure, he was still LOL meme Deadpool, but there was a purpose to his life and he finally felt happy. But after a villain tried to attack his family, he realized that his family would never be safe again. A theme that comes up again in Dugan's run since this ending was wiped out of continuity. Talk about a crazy way to get a do-over on your killing of Deadpool, huh? The planets were colliding, causing the end of the entire 616 universe. Some characters got their goodbyes, and they got to end their stories. I think at the time, none of the writers knew who was going to be coming back to their previous books, so they wrote each of the books as a massive ending event. Everyone played it safe, and they got to end their storylines, and I think that's what Jerry Dugan was doing at this time. Deadpool came to the decision that in order for his family to be safe, Deadpool had to die, in the literal sense. So he called out all of the villains and everyone came to fight Deadpool until he killed each and every one of them. He then left Deadpool, the superhero, there, allowing himself to just become Wade Wilson living with his family. That is, until they see another planet crashing into them and Deadpool says one of my favorite lines, "I thought the incursion stuff was just a bunch of Avengers nonsense. No one figured this out?" And then he burns up hugging his daughter, stating that he accepts this as his finale. For number 5, we're going to be looking at the books Night of the Living Deadpool and Return of the Living Deadpool. These are 2 graphic novels. They're similar to the concept of Marvel Zombies, but it's a Deadpool take on it merged with some like Walking Dead stuff. As a matter of fact, the art style is interesting as Deadpool's the only colored character in this world. Everyone else looks like they're straight out of Walking Dead. He makes some new friends and he helps people survive, but in the end, he discovers that he is technically the cure for the virus. Kind of. He's also like the plague bringer of the follow-up virus because in the first book, we discover that if a zombie bites Deadpool, they'll become a Deadpool, leading to a world overrun by Deadpools. In the second book, we discover that a device can turn Deadpool's DNA against him so the zombie Deadpools can then be all turned into dust. So he basically sacrifices himself twice in a series to save all of the people. Now for number 6, we have the evil Deadpool in the entire KILLOGY. In this trilogy of Deadpool graphic novels, Deadpool is awoken to the fact that he is truly nothing more than fiction and he wanted to end everything. So he had the idea that if he killed all of the Marvel superheroes and villains, he would be free of his torment. But it didn't exactly work as he intended, and he ended up leaving the multiverse, going into the real world to kill his own writers. He then realized that he would continue to exist due to the characters that inspired the writers being alive. So he went into the classic novels to fight the inspirational characters. Sherlock Holmes, Moby Dick, characters like that. This also didn't work, and he decided that instead he would just then kill every Deadpool in existence so that no other version could possibly exist. This led to the main Deadpool fighting off and killing this version of Deadpool in one of the most epic fourth wall breaking moments that we have. And in that, they talk about how none of what this evil Deadpool even mattered. The multiverse will repair itself and allow the universe to continue onward. He can't stop anything. Deadpool then cuts off the evil Deadpool's head and douses him with acid to prevent him from regenerating, stating that even if the multiverse forgives this evil Deadpool and starts bringing everyone back, Deadpool himself will not forgive this evil version because he actually killed all of his friends. And now that leads us to Deadpool Kills Deadpool. Because no dead Deadpool's list is complete without mentioning Deadpool Kills Deadpool. Now I'm going to list all of the ones that I could pick out of the mess of everyone dying as number 7. Just one big lump, number 7. So, this was the finale to the KILLOGY, and in it they created an anti-regeneration gun. So basically everyone killed here, in theory, should be staying dead. Here's my list of deaths. Zombie Pool got blown up in a microwave. Golden Age Deadpool with a laser. Dogpool with a laser. Gimp Deadpool in black leather through body sighting only half of his body. Bee-Beard Deadpool with a gun to the head. A bunch of them in a tent, with multiple ways of killing them. Motorpool, he's the only one in the tent that got named. Kidpool trying to save his friends in the tent. Cyborg Deadpool, killed by Pandapool. Deadpool Noir at the hands of Wolverinepool. Evil Deadpool from Daniel Way's run at the hands of Deadpool, kind of, he comes back later, but he technically died there. A version of Deadpool who is basically Spiral, some obscure X-Men villain that none of you are going to remember unless you watched the 90s cartoon. Wolverinepool with a weird grenade. Lady Deadpool by crashing the B. Arthur into Galactuspool's head. Galactuspool by having the B. Arthur crashed into his head. Howard the Duck Deadpool to Deadpool. MODOK Deadpool to Pandapool. Dinosaur Deadpool with a bullet to its head. At this point, a lot more Deadpools die. There's a shark pool in there somewhere, not even joking. Shark pool. Ultimate Deadpool gets stabbed. There's a wizard one and a knight one. Wizard beats knight, apparently. And that's also when Pandapool dies, and the weird Ronin Deadpool, which is from a totally different miniseries, and that leads to the death of Evil Deadpool. There you go. 7 times that you can say Deadpool actually died. Only for the Marvel writers to be like, nope. This is literally the point of the Deadpool Killogy, that Deadpool can't die, not due to regeneration, not due to some offline from Thanos about him being immortal that everyone apparently uses as goddamn gospel. Nope, Deadpool can't die because the writers won't let him.